What I need
Fuck it,
proof.
naked?
You know how you are.
Because
We always on the
everything you
phone.
say is a lie.
So wait a minute, Mr. Lewis.
When you out of town, was you out of town?
Everybody has a
You was out of town.
past.
How did I know you was out of town? Did you tell me?
Let's get some order. Let's get some
All
order.
right, you not
Everybody
my
knows.
Facebook
It's on
friend.
social media.
Lester demands that a paternity test be done so that her ex can take responsibility for her 21-month-old son, Ryden. She stated that he has refused to carry out his fatherly duties because she refused to continue their sexual relationship. However, the ex in question, Mr. Lewis, denies it all. What exactly is the story here? Let's find out.
Me and Stanley planned my son.
We did not plan a baby.
Yes, we did.
No, we did not.
We've also never used a condom. We talked about having a baby numerous times, so this is all new to me on why he's not claiming my son.
So you're denying the baby?
No, I'm not denying a baby. It's just Jatoya Lester, she just always lying. She's known the street to be a hoe.
Oh, that turned wild too quickly. Even Judge Lauren had to call them both to order. However, moving on, Lewis explains how he and Lester came to have sexual knowledge of each other. It all started with seeing each other at the grocery store, and after some days, they moved to each other's beds. However, Lester seems to have a different story.
No condom.
He's
anything.
lying.
So-
He wrote me on Facebook in March of 2016. We didn't have sex until August because we planned to have my son. He asked me if I wanted to have his baby, and I replied back, yes, I do. He told me he loved me, and I told him I loved him as well. This is why we weren't having sex.
Oh, dear Lewis. Meanwhile, Lester claims that those statements about having a family came out of Lewis's mouth a couple of other times, too. In fact, she said that it was a major conversation that they would usually have. Still, Lewis is adamant that she is lying. Anyway, the trajectory shifts to the day Raiden was born. And boy, you would not believe what I'm about to show you.
Then she tells me it's my son, but tells another man it's his son. He
No,
actually at the hospital.
Actually, I told him he was.
Hold on, let him finish. He was at the hospital.
At the hospital, he cut the umbilical cord and he signed the birth certificate. So how am I the
did.
father?
This birth certificate, oh yeah, here it is. Certified record of birth for Raiden Jador. Father's name is another man's name.
I think we're beginning to see clearly why Lewis is skeptical of Raiden being his. How would you have another man's name on your baby's birth certificate and yet still claim that another man is his father? I don't know, man. Something is off. Now, when Lester was asked to explain herself because clearly there has to be something that no one is aware of, she says this.
I'm not gonna chase someone around. You knew you had this baby. Why do I have to chase you around? Why do I have to tell you this? If I've told you once, I even enlightened him on the days that I was scheduled to go see the doctor during my pregnancy. He knew the situation. As long as I did my part as a woman, that's all that matters.
So were you having sex with this other guy?
I had
She
sex
had
to
sex
him
with everybody.
2 weeks. I had sex to the other man 2 weeks prior to him getting the.
This just keeps getting wilder. But there are even more unbelievable things to come in this episode of Lewis and Lester's drama. Here is one. Now, as Lewis explains why he believes that Ryden couldn't possibly be his, he drops this bomb.
I've been shot multiple times to where the doctors have pumped so much medicine in my body, and they told me that I couldn't have kids at all.
And since that time, you haven't fathered any other children.
No.
And that's why you feel Raiden is not your biological child.
First of all, Yana, he doesn't even look like me.
Wow, there is a fiance in the mix? In fact, he is in court. Although this guy, Kevin Brown, tells the court that he is only there to provide support to Lester, his babe, Lewis 100% believes that Kevin could be a potential father. However, the judge has questions for Kevin, and I honestly can't wait to hear what he has to say about all this. Let's take a look at the following clip.
Hi, Mr. Brown. Thank you for being here today. Mr. Lewis just testified that you and Ms. Lester have had a 10-year relationship.
Yes, Yana.
And you've been sexually active with her for those 10 years?
Not at all, Yana.
Stop lying, man. Quit fronting.
When I got in the picture, Raiden was already, I'd say, 3 to 4 months.
Okay, well, I'm glad Kevin was at least civil, unlike those two, but the court session did not end there. Of course, Lewis had something to say about Kevin's testimony, claiming that he did not believe a word Lester's fiancé said. In such a moment, you would think that Lester would channel her words to back up her man, right? But this woman spewed unbelievable things I can't even say. Take a look at this.
I would have him in this loop where I'm having
having
sex with him and him, and they both know it. When I'm mad at him, I go to him. When I'm mad at him, I go to him. It's not a secret. It's not like I'm playing neither one, because they both know. At the beginning of this year, that's when we decided to be serious with this relationship.
How can she be be serious when she just hit me 2 weeks ago trying to get me to come have sex with her?
Do you have proof?
My, oh my, I have never seen a messier group. What's worse is that they aren't even speaking about the innocent baby Raiden, whose biological father we still don't know anything about. Instead, all these two are focused on is hurling nasty words at each other and exposing themselves. What's even sadder is that Lewis's mother, Yvonne Martin, is entirely in love with Raiden. Believing that he is her grandchild, she has developed a bond with him.
He's been a real joy to me. I've developed this bond with him. He's developed a bond with my family. He's been around all of my family, and they all just love him to death.
And you come and get him every weekend?
Every other week I come and get him. He got clothes and everything at my house.
And you have fallen in love, completely in love?
Totally in love with him.
So today's results really mean everything.
Yes.
Why are you crying, Miss Lester? What are you feeling in this moment?
His mother has been nothing but a lifesaver.
Well, it appears that everyone is a little calmer now after Lewis's mama gave her testimony. Mothers, bless their beautiful hearts. Well, all that is left is to reveal the DNA test report finally, so both parties can get the ball rolling from here on. Are you curious to know what the report says? Well then, let's find out.
Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
Can I say this? I made a mistake, but I can only move forward from her, and I apologize to both of y'all. And we do appreciate everything y'all have done for us.
Mr. Lewis, I see how much pain you're feeling now. What are you feeling, sir?
It's hard to even hear the results.
Late Mr. Abraham's family is in court to defend their son, who, before his tragic death, stated his doubts about being the father of the defendant's child, Kenia. However, the defendant, Miss Hooker, maintains that the baby is his and expresses her hurt at the doubt Abraham's family has about her daughter's paternity.
I'm just sad sometimes. I try to deal with it now. Like, I really don't care no more. That's how I feel. I don't care anymore. I don't care who feel nothing about my baby. I don't care. It just seemed like everybody else looking upside my head like I'm an animal or something. Like, every time I'm sitting down doing something, they looking at me like I'm just outcast of the group. She looked like me, so why is a problem? That's why I just say I don't care about nothing. And none of that. I don't care.
That's not the way
so,
that you go about doing
Ms. Hooker, let me ask you, what was your relationship with Keyshawn? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
First we was best friends.
From what Hooker said, it looks like she and Abraham were at least civil before his passing. So where did all of this go wrong? Could it be that Abraham's family just don't like Hooker and are finding a fault when there isn't any? We'll see.
It's not Miss Baker who denies Kenia. It's her family who makes my daughter feel some type of way. It's not Miss Baker. She was too fat to be his baby. She fat like them, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Never from Miss Baker. It's always her family who always have something to say about my grandbaby.
However, Miss Baker, Abraham's mom, has a different opinion about the situation. She claims that rumors about Hooker being pregnant started flying around when Abraham was on vacation. When Abraham got back, he allegedly also told his mom that Hooker had been with other men and, therefore, had doubts about the pregnancy being his.
But then when we finally found out for sure, he told me, he said he wasn't the only boy that had messed with Denia.
Okay.
And he made me promise that we was gonna get a blood test, and things didn't go the way we thought they were gonna go, and now we're here.
Well, I'm so very sorry for your loss. Let me say that. I know this is difficult. May I ask what happened to Keyshawn?
He was shot.
Well, Hooker denied that allegation, more like laughed it off. And her mom, of course, backed her up, claiming that the late Abraham denied being Kenia's father when he and Hooker got into an argument. She also reiterated that Abraham was loving to Hooker, and that all the bad energy was coming from his family. At this point, Abraham's sister decided to clear the air on that.
I know my mom said something about, she had a birthday dinner, and my mom did tell me, she said something about she think I didn't like her, or, you know, things like that. Maybe her perception of what other people view of her is just her perception, because she has to understand that sometimes it's hard for people to look, for me personally, to look at the baby, because it's just a reminder that my brother's not here. So it's not about her and her feelings. When she does come around, it is a sense of sadness for me.
Well, it is great that the misunderstanding has been cleared. There is one thing about people who enjoy seeking out trouble, the subtle snickering just to annoy the other party. That is precisely what Hooker has been doing since this court session started. And at this point, Miss Baker has had enough of Hooker's attitude and snide remarks.
Like I told him, you played grown, now it's time to be grown. Because if it's your baby, you not finna run and you not finna leave the whole bag on her.
Him or my family are not those kind of people to do that. what did I do to her?
Oh, you
I
can't
don't
don't go there, Miss Blanche. Don't go there, Miss Blanche. Don't go there, because you know the truth is you
We're all
understand.
here to talk, honey.
This is
I don't know what Hooker's problem is, but she does not need to be doing all of this. The matter at hand is way more serious. But as much as Baker and her daughter claim that they do not harbor any kind of ill feelings toward Hooker, there is something relating to Abraham's death that's upsetting Hooker. Now, what exactly is that? Let's find out.
My daughter really feels some type of way of, it's not that she feels some type of way, it's like she more hurt behind the obituary. And Miss Carolyn has explained to her about the obituary, how the obituary went, but in her heart, she feel like, and that's why she has so much animosity towards Toy.
I just feel like this, when this come back and it's the baby, I don't want no sorries from nobody. Keep your sorries. I don't want no sorry.
I'm not giving you a sorry.
Okay, I'm not asking you to.
Shut up.
That's it right there, the obituary note. As much as she says she doesn't care, we all know she does. I mean, look at her getting all swollen up because of an obituary.
I did get left out. So did my grandmother, and so did one of my sisters.
Okay.
It wasn't just the baby.
Okay.
We weren't together. Nobody was thinking right at that time. We weren't with none of us together. She went ahead to try to call herself helping me, and she was going ahead of me to finish it up, and all three of these people got left out, so it wasn't just Kanaya.
However, this begs the question, did Abraham's family intentionally leave Kanaya out of the obituary? There you have it. However, just to prove that she does not hold any grudge against Hooker and her daughter, Miss Baker promises to single-handedly make amendments to Abraham's obituary if it turns out that Kania is indeed her biological granddaughter. What an honorable thing to do. Well, now that all of that has been cleared, it is time for the DNA results.
The percentage of relatedness between Miss Baker, Mr. Abraham, and Kenaya Abraham is 0%.
And this is why right here.
Miss Baker, are you all right? Do you need to sit down? Do you need to sit down, ma'am?
Dear God. So after all her antics, Kanaya really isn't the late Abraham's daughter. Now, any average person would take this moment to apologize and close the chapter. Not Hooker. Instead, she goes into full beast mode for nothing. Just take a look at this dirty behavior.
They weren't gonna tell me sorry, so I'm not telling them nothing.
Do you need to sit down, ma'am?
Nobody did anything to you, honey.
I don't care. Miss
Nobody
Carolyn do nothing to me, but I don't like you.
That's
I don't
fine,
like you.
sweetie. It's
I don't like you.
fine.
Okay, I don't care.
It's
No,
okay.
stop talking to me then.
Nobody did anything
Stop
to
talking
you.
Miss Hooker, just stop.
Stop it!
It's over.
You owe my
Let's
mom
go.
an apology, though. That's when you owe one.
No, excuse me.
Because you know you slept with somebody else.
Miss Hooker. Miss Hooker. No.
This man, Mr. Morgan, sued his ex-girlfriend, Gentry Lee, to prove that he was her daughter's father. It was a very bold move and a rare case, I must say. Even at this point, Gentry Lee still denies that Morgan is her baby's father. What exactly is Gentry Lee's reason for this?
Mr. Morgan, why do you believe she's denying you're the father?
I simply believe that she's denying this because we're no longer in a relationship and we're not going to be.
So you think she's just saying you're not the child's father because she's not with you anymore?
Yes, because I moved on.
Is that true, Miss Gentry Lee?
No, Your Honor.
Explain. This is very upsetting to you. Explain to the court. What are you feeling?
Exactly. And that is what we're going to find out by the end of this court session. Meanwhile, Morgan explains how he and Gentry Lee first met, and especially how they both ended up getting sexually intimate. Let's see what Morgan has to say about this, shall we?
Okay, well, I'm in artist management for a living. When the time I met Miss Gentry Lee, she was with an artist that I was considering signing. I called to speak with him and to tell him, you know, come over, have a drink, let's sit down and discuss some details and see what we can do. Well, Miss Gentry Lee had answered the telephone, and she said at that time that he was no longer with her.
No.
And she said she come over. One thing led to another. We ended up being intimate that night.
They both have different testimonies about their sexual encounter. However, Gentry Lee was not yet done narrating her story. She added that after she moved in with Morgan, they got into an argument, which led to him making attempts at putting her out severally. But it gets even wilder. Watch this.
He was bringing other women in, like my family member, and I caught him with my family member.
He was sleeping with your family member?
He was sleeping with my family member, Your Honor.
So sorry.
I completely told him I was done, so he called me back September the 19th, Your Honor. So I stayed with him September the 19th. We did a quickie. Then I left him that day and went with another guy yearner.
Oh, now there is another man in the picture. Gentry Lee claims that it was only after she got with this other man that she started having pregnancy symptoms, cementing her belief that Morgan isn't the baby daddy. So, she didn't tell Morgan anything about the pregnancy. But how did he find out?
She was at my house. She needed some hygiene products. I was going shopping for my own things. At that time, I figured she had been there for a month. Like, okay, so when is your period, basically? Are you gonna need some pads? She's like, yeah. She put them in my top shelf that's next to my bathroom, and they remained there. They never got open. She never used one. And after time, I'm like, okay, why aren't these open? Why aren't you using them? I haven't had my period. Why haven't you had your period? I don't know.
I don't know about you, but I don't see how all of this is leading somewhere. Their stories do not match. There have been accusations of infidelity, and there seems to be another man in the picture. All of this is just everywhere. And the age gap between these two? God, no. All of it is just wrong.
Mr. Morgan, how old are you?
37.
Mr. Morgan, I can do the math on the baby and see she was of age. But wow, this is a very young girl. And Miss Gentry Lee, at your age, you're talking about you were so sad you weren't pregnant, but you having sex with Mr. Morgan and another guy.
Can you imagine that? Now you guys can see what I mean when I say everything is just so wrong. However, something isn't matching up. Hear me out. If Gentry Lee truly believes that Morgan is not her baby daddy, why is she providing Morgan with all the information about her pregnancy, including her baby's ultrasound? I mean, make it make sense.
Do you know why you're entertaining this if you really don't believe he's your child's father?
I don't.
The only time I'm not the father is when I give an indication that this will not be a relationship. Then it's somebody else's baby then.
No.
Miss Gentry,
I really don't care if you're in a relationship with me. Because you put me through so much hell, I don't know why.
So she's pregnant now. Are you invited to go to any appointments? You get an ultrasound picture. Do you go to appointments?
Now,
you say the only time it's not my baby is when I...
And now, Morgan's fiance, Sharika Strawn, tells the court some unbelievable things about Gentry Lee. She claimed that Gentry Lee would always text her fiance, Morgan, complaining about how hungry she was. So, out of her benevolence, Sharika decided to invite Gentry Lee over for a nice home-cooked meal and some other nice gestures, according to her.
You stayed at my house for 4 days.
Actually,
I don't like it, but I deal with you, I invited him. He just told
I
her.
went over his cousin's house.
Per her request.
I went over his cousin's house.
You came to my house because I wanted you to be there. We live together. Anyway, I bought stuff for the baby.
Well, if she bought stuff, where is the stuff?
At my house. I told you over and over to come get it, come look at it.
Well, no one still understands why Gentry Lee claims that Morgan is not her daughter's father. She has not given one clear reason, and this bothers Judge Lauren, who asked her to provide proof, a reason, anything to make the court understand her standpoint. So, Gentry Lee provides a timeline, which, according to her, is proof that Morgan is not her baby daddy. Let's see what this proof is.
Actually, the dude that been around my
You have proof of the timeline.
Yes.
You're saying the timeline doesn't match up. Can I see that, Ron? You're saying the reason why you don't believe he's your child's father is because when you do the math as to when Amaya was born, conceived, and when you were with him, it doesn't match up.
Yes.
So you were intimate with
the
Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
where it's in red.
Wow. Either Gentry Lee didn't know that, or she intentionally wanted to keep Morgan away from his child if, eventually, she turned out to be his. Now, all of this is starting to get clearer. However, the only way everyone can know for sure where they stand is once the DNA test result is revealed. If you are ready to find out the real paternity, then take a look at this clip.
You are the father.
I don't get her. We've been through hell and back.
Born. I never got to hold her. I never got to.
She moved away when she was 8 months pregnant on us.
You to stay at my house. You could have stayed.
With me. You said I don't like you so much, but I was there for you. I bought your baby clothes. I fed you. Like you're
But
so
whatever this agreement we have with us.
Seeing this, Gentry Lee has some serious beef with Morgan that no one knows about. That, or the fact that she is so young, makes her actions just as irrational for someone her age. I mean, Judge Lauren just had to spell it out in hopes that she would understand the stakes on the ground.
This little baby.
Yeah.
This innocent little baby. Really? Your reaction right now is very immature, but you are. And that's why you really don't have any business standing here, because you can't even process this. You so young. You can't. I want to be mad at you, but I